Much. So good afternoon to everybody. I am representing Kaunas University of Applied Engineering Sciences, and we are based in Lithuania, basically. And yeah, I think I can move on with the presentation. If you have any questions, I think you know that you can publish the questions, right? Okay, so what is important, and I emphasize this a lot, is that our university has more than a century of experience, and we train specialists in engineering field, right? It's very interesting and very important to mention that we haven't really changed our field of interest in more than 100 years, and we have always been interested just in engineering or preparing engineers, right? So our institution is a higher education institution, and we currently offer 9 programs in different languages, right, and different fields. We are focused on balancing theoretical knowledge and also practical skills. And since we are applied engineering science university, our classes involve a lot of practice and a lot of actual touching of materials and things like that. And as I've mentioned, right, so our classes are taught in English, Lithuanian, and sometimes Russian, depending on the group, but mostly English and Lithuanian. Right, so I think we'll watch the video afterwards. So now, as I mentioned, right, we have 9 programs that we are currently offering. And those, as you can see on the screen, are motor transport electronics, automotive engineering, electrical energy, electronic engineering, road engineering, material processing, avionics systems, aircraft maintenance, and construction, right? So I think you can kind of make a conclusion that we have like a department in aircraft or avionics, right? Then motor transport, so automotive field, um, then electrical field, and others, right? Great. So I will go through each program very briefly. I'm not going to tell you or bore you to death with a lot of things, but so motor transport electronics, this is a field, or this is a program, I guess, that prepares specialists who then, after graduation, are ready to design and install electronic equipment. They're able to select and manage diagnostic and repair equipment, and they're also capable of organizing diagnostics of electronic and mechatronic systems, right? Um, yeah, so basically, yeah, motor transport electronics kind of focuses a lot on what's going on inside the car or inside the vehicle rather than the outside of it. Then the automotive engineering focuses more kind of on the outside, if that makes more sense. So in that case, we prepare or we have careers or students that can have careers in the automotive sector that require experts in land transport elements, right? So they work more with internal combustion engines. They work with electrical and hybrid technologies. They focus on mechanical, hydraulic, and pneumatic systems, and as I said, vehicles and their maintenance, right? So if the motor transport electronics is more like microchips and things like that, automotive engineering is more like what's happening um, in the car as such, right? So the engine, combustion, or exhaustion system and things like that. Then another one is electrical energy, and here students learn how electricity and heat are produced, transferred, and used for practical purposes. And they also learn about electrifying homes and commercial buildings using both traditional and alternative sources of energy. So there are some professors that are focusing on solar power or different sources of energy, basically, right? So once again, if you're interested in this field, this program would be probably very good for you. Then we have electronic engineering. So I guess as the name suggests, these are the specialists that have knowledge and skills in the analysis and selection of electronic devices and systems. So once again, it's more the internal kind of electronic part rather than tools and things like that, right? So these students, these graduates are able to design, install, and combine electronic devices and systems. And our students know the standards and directives of production and operation of electronic devices and systems, right? Because probably, as you know, Different countries have different laws, regulations, and things like that. And our students are able to organize activities of a company, right? So they might be supervisors or managers and things like that, right? Great. Then let's move on to road engineering. In road engineering, a lot of people imagine that they just go and build roads, but that's not exactly what our students do. Rather, they really kind of design the roads, they create efficient road designs, they plan, organize, supervise, and then obviously they might also take care of roads maintenance, but they can also be the ones who supervise others doing that, right? So once again, obviously in 2023, a lot of things are based on softwares, computers, devices, and things like that. Materials processing engineering is very interesting because our students use state-of-art technologies, so including automated design systems and 3D production equipment, right? They are able to design and build various machines or parts or tools, right? So if you need a car, obviously you need some parts of it, right? So this is exactly what our students learn how to do. They learn how to design those parts. They learn how to make them with 3D equipment and all that. They can also control production technologies and they can also ensure quality of manufacturing processes. So once again, the range of what you can do is really wide. You can learn how to do the basic things, but you can also learn and aspire to be the supervisor or the manager or the whatever, who will sorry, who will then explain others what to do or how to do. Then we go on to avionics systems engineering. So this program and the aircraft maintenance are extremely, extremely popular among foreigners. And in avionics system, our students can be aircraft avionics technicians, and they also know how to maintain the electrical and electronic system of airplanes and helicopters. So once again, you will see that the difference is very similar to the motor transport. With avionics, they kind of look at electronical part, right? So like what's happening inside the computer, inside the head. While with the aircraft maintenance, they know how to maintain the plane, right? How to um, how to compose something or how to design something so that the plane the plane works properly and everything works properly. Once again, these programs are extremely, extremely popular among foreigners, right? So in aircraft maintenance, obviously, once again, you get theoretical and practical knowledge, and you study things like math, physics, IT, engineering, graphics, aircraft propeller, fueler, and things like that, right? So these are just a few things to know. So heads up, you will need math, you will need physics, and things like that. Good. Now we have construction engineering. That once again, when you say construction engineering, don't think that you just take a shovel and dig something up, right? That's not how it works. Our graduates have an option to acquire a double degree, actually, right? Provided that students complete the fifth and the sixth semesters um, in a university in Denmark. So we have a double degree here. And with the construction engineering, once again, right, you learn how to design buildings, you learn how to sketch them, you learn programs as to like how to make whatever that works. So once again, don't think that you're just building something with a brick in your hand, right? That's not how it works. You learn how to design things, how to design buildings, how to design systems in the buildings and things like that. And yeah, so I think this is okay. So I think I forgot to mention that in another program that was electronics, we also have a double degree. In this one, it's with Germany, which Markhalden University. So just again, just something to be kept in mind that in construction engineering, the double degree would be in Denmark, and with electronics, it's in Germany, right? So probably now you are obviously interested in the application process, right? I assume that most people who are listening are Ukrainians, right? So there are three routes. I will focus more on one, and I'll explain why. Okay, so there are three routes where you can apply as a Ukrainian or as a foreigner, really. So the first one is really good for everybody. So you can literally just apply as a foreigner. The fee is 3,000 €640 per year for all the programs. And the main things that we need for this one is your high school diploma and transcript of records, meaning the subjects that you did and or exams that you had, and what marks, what grades you got, right? I believe that in Ukraine you have like national exam system, so we also need those. Well, obviously, right? Then route two is kind of like if you have a TRP in Lithuania, right? So basically, if you're a refugee or whatever, and you temporarily reside in Lithuania, in that case, you can apply. Once again, the application is very similar, but there might be some funding, or there might be some possibility to get some scholarships and things like that. Once again, really, the documents we need are kind of the same. We still need your high school diploma, the transcript of records, obviously the ID and things like that. And then route three is if you are residing in Lithuania, but you have graduated for some reason from Lithuanian school. In that case, you go through Lama BPO, which is like a central application system, right? But as I said, I'm not going to focus on these ones because I assume that most of you are still in Ukraine and you are not in Lithuania, okay? If you are in Lithuania, then you can always email me, which you will get the contacts at the end of the presentation. And you can ask for specific cases like, oh, what should I do? Or what's the application process, okay? But if that's not the case, then let's move on. So as I said, right, the requirements are very basic. We need your high school diploma, right, and the transcript of records. That's really, really, really the most important thing we need, right? To see whether you had physics or math or English and things like that. Then we also need some sort of an English like proof, right, of your English. So it can be IELTS, it can be Cambridge. If you do not have any kind of certificate, that's fine. Because then if I see that it's necessary, and I say I because it's me who is doing the admission process. If I see that it's necessary, then we can always carry out an interview, and then I will determine your English level, right, to see whether it's enough or not for the studies, right? Then we have qualification recognition. So once again, that goes through me, right? If you graduated in Lithuania, that's really not like, I don't really have to do anything. If you graduated in Ukraine, then I just have to make sure that your marks and your high school diploma is equivalent to the diploma that we have here, right? Meaning that the math that you studied in Ukraine is the same math that we studied here in Lithuania, right? So this is important to know. Financial matters, right? So if you, sorry, if you are going as a foreigner, then the tuition fee is €3,640, as I said, and we need to know that you are going to be able to cover the tuition fee for a year, right? Sometimes last year and this year we had some funding and some help for Ukrainians. However, this is not something that we know for sure that is going to happen next year. So this is something that is very specific for every year. So in case you do apply, we would need to see whether that's still available or not, right? But thing is that we need to know that you will be able to cover the first tuition year, right? So maybe some sort of a bank check or something to see that you have that money to pay for the tuition. Then you just submit your application, meaning you send it to me, right? I do the recognition. I see whether your documents are okay. We do everything. The committee decides whether your high school diploma and everything is enough, and then you receive our decision, right? So once again, if you go as a foreigner, you get like a conditional offer letter, meaning that if you fulfill the requirements that we are giving you, meaning you pay the tuition fee, everything, then you will be accepted, right? And then you get the letter of acceptance if you agree to all the conditions, and then you can start the TRP process, right? So now we don't have visas anymore. Now we have TRP, which is temporary residence permit, which is a good thing. It's for a year or two, depends on the person. However, everything takes a lot of time. So I always tell everybody to start doing all the process as soon as possible, mainly because it can take up to 2 months or even 3 months. So the sooner you do it, the better, honestly. right? One thing that is worth mentioning is that the application fee, the registration fee is 100 euros, and that one is non-refundable unless you are a Ukrainian who is residing in Lithuania, then it's 50 euros. But if you come as a foreigner, then it's 100 euros. If you are accepted into our university, you get the letter of acceptance, you pay the tuition fee, but then for some reason your documents get rejected from embassy or whatever, the migration office. In that case, we refund the money minus 50 euros, which is for the bank transfer basically. But the money will be refunded to you in case your TRP gets rejected. Just something again to be kept in mind. Great. So once again, right, the requirements that I have just talked about, again, the dates that you need to know are that the admission or the admission process, the applications are open from the 1st or the 2nd of January until the 20th of August. But once again, the sooner you do it, the better, because our school year starts on the 1st of September, right? So the sooner you do it, the better, obviously. Great. Okay. Oh, sorry, something is happening. Okay. So as I said, right, so the degree that you get after the graduation is a professional bachelor's degree in engineering, right? Then you can continue your studies at a postgraduate level at university. You can then study somewhere else. As I mentioned again, we also have the double degree, right? So in construction, which is double degree with us and Denmark. So basically, you study a bit longer because you are getting 2 degrees, right, in Denmark and here. And then also double degree in electronics engineering. And in that case, you have the double degree from Germany, right? So once again, from Lithuania and from Germany, right? Classes are in English. You do not need to know German or Danish. If you do know those languages, obviously amazing, but that's not necessary. Great. So I mentioned fees and scholarships and things like that. So the tuition fee is 3,640 euros, as I mentioned before. However, depending on whether you come as a foreigner or you come as a Lithuanian Ukrainian student, you might get some funding. Usually, students are awarded scholarships between 70 to 200 euros, depending on their results. So, meaning you study for half a year, for 6 months, and if your results are really, really good, if you're studying really well, you pass your exams really well, you might be an eligible candidate to get those scholarships from the government. Okay. Another thing that is very, very, very important to mention is that a lot of students have internships. Okay, so we do internships or practices, whatever you want to call that. Um, and on the first year of your studies, you already do practices or internships in the companies, right? So most of our students, I am going to say like 90% of our students are getting funding from the companies because the companies are really, really interested in hiring those students. So they cover their tuition fee for the next 2, 3 years, 2 years, I guess. And then they sign a contract with them, right? Which means that the job opportunities or the possibility to get a job after you graduate are immense. They're really, really high because we have like every year a lot of companies show their interest in our students. For example, I think I have like 7 students in one class, and all of them are already working. They're in their second year of studies only, but they're already working in big companies like Continental or Hella or Ryanair, like things like that. So the students get the jobs quite easily, I'm going to say, because companies are really interested in that, right? They're really interested in young people, young engineers who are able to do more practice than theory, right? So that is something very important that if you start studying, be sure or think that you will have a job. Chances are you will get a job quite easily, especially if you know languages and things like that. Right. So something that is also very, very important to mention is that we do have students' residence. Um, the residence, the dorms are not included in the price. You can, if you scan the QR code, you can check a bit more information. You can see the list of the prices. You can check out a few more pictures, but the residence is extremely close to the university. It's like 5 minutes on foot, and all the international students are guaranteed the place. Okay, so if you want to live separately, obviously it's fine. However, if you don't have anywhere to stay, you can apply for the residence and you for the room, and you will always have a place in the room, because I always make sure to book a few rooms for the foreigners, so that's not an issue. The prices, I think if you scanned it, so the prices can go anywhere from 80, right? 80 euros to 225, I believe. So if you are okay and you want to, and you can share a room with more people, two people or one person, then it's 80 euros. If you prefer to live alone, then the price is 225. Okay, but once again, it's not, it's doable. I think that is quite affordable. Now, so I mentioned the partners, right? So and the companies that always give scholarships to our students. So these are some of the companies, right? I mentioned Continental, I mentioned Hella. There are more, right? We have Eurovia, Teltonica, Ryanair, as I mentioned, right? We have Preda, Tobis, Agro, right? And a lot of others actually. So the list is honestly endless. Um, there are so many companies that are interested. Right. So obviously, apart from studying, being a student socially is an extremely important part, right, in our university life. And currently, we're offering 9 kind of clubs, I would say. So if you're into dancing, we have a folk dance group. If you are more into like kind of sports, we have basketball, we have running, weightlifting, football, tennis, racing, and volleyball, sorry, and things like that. If you're more into aircraft kind of modeling and crafts and arts, we have aircraft modeling club. And one thing that I think that a lot of students are really interested in is KTK racing division and KTK drift team. Uh, so this is the team, this is the club where our students design and build cars. And oh, sorry, I don't know why it moved. So this is the club where our students build cars, and then they race with them. Basically, they go to the races, they represent our school, and things like that. And this is very popular among our students, which is once again it's really worth mentioning. I know that I talk about it a lot, but I was a student once, and I know how important money is, and supporting yourself, maintaining yourself. So we also have scholarships for those who participate in these clubs. So there are monthly scholarships, and if you become a part of these clubs, you get some money, kind of a help or something, just to maintain yourself, to support yourself. Right. So another question that is asked pretty often is whether we have Erasmus. So we do have Erasmus, and we are now partners with 40, more than 43. I think it's 45 as of today universities across 20 countries. Right. So we have partners in Spain, Portugal, Italy, Malta, Germany, obviously Poland, Latvia, and things like that. So I even think we have a bilateral agreement with Ukraine, but it's not an Erasmus program. So I don't know if you're familiar with Erasmus, but basically it's when the students go to a different university abroad, right? So let's say from Lithuania to Spain, and they studied there for 6 months. They are doing the same program, the same courses most of the time. However, you are in the international community, international context, and you do the classes in English, right? So you are also learning English or whatever language at the same time. So I would highly recommend that because it is a very good experience as a student. Um, I believe you can only apply for Erasmus after half a year of studying here, right? So if you get into our university next September, by February you can already go and do Erasmus. Right, and here are some pictures from the 1st of September this year for the celebration of our Erasmus students. This is our museum. They had a tour. As I said, students are really interested in the drifting and racing and things like that. Good. So these are some of our labs and classes where students are getting lectures that are being taught. So here we have aircraft maintenance and avionics system classes. Students can see the planes and things like that from close up. Then we have these kind of labs, right? More with automation and things like that. Okay. Yeah. So this is our student space. So we have the library, we have a reading room, we have the computer class. Yeah, this is more devices, and then we have a simulator, a race simulator. So every time we have an education fair or a study fair or study exhibition, we always take it because students, or just really everybody honestly, is really interested in trying out themselves in racing, and then maybe becoming a part of the club, right? Okay, and I guess one of the things that is also worth mentioning, kind of why you should choose Kaunas, right? Why not go to Vilnius or whatever? Vilnius is also a nice city, but Kaunas is a smaller city, so it's not as crowded, I guess, or as busy as Vilnius is, or any other city really. And however, it that's why it's so good, because it's a bit smaller, so it's more affordable. But we are now in the free economic zone, so there are so many in like industrial places. There are so many companies that are now establishing their headquarters here in Kaunas, mainly because there are so many people. There are so many future engineers. There are so many workers, and the geographical position is amazing because it's the most important center of communication in Lithuania, because it's like literally in the middle of everything, right? So as I mentioned, right, it's a large center of business and industry, and there are over 35,000 students in Kaunas, which means that it's a very young city, honestly. If you go out to the street, I personally live in Kaunas, and it's a great city. It's very nice. There is a lot of culture, architecture, history, but at the same time, you can also go out, have fun, go to the cinema, hang out with your friends, and things like that. Once again, if you scan this code, you can find more about Kaunas, activities that it's offering, kind of the price of the living, and things like that. So it's a very good QR code. I'm not sure if I assume that the presentation will be shared, right? So you will see that. But once again, you can just scan the code and really check everything out. Great. And I think if I can, or maybe not, right? But so there are more pictures of our university. And so this is the front side, or the front face of our university. This is what it looks like at night. This is our aviation center. So this is where the plane was and everything is happening. And then also we have like a lot of events, a lot of social activities for the students, especially for international students. So I would highly recommend and invite everybody to visit Kaunas at least once, and then maybe even sign up for our classes and our courses, and do that. If you do have any questions, as I said, you can always email admission@edu.ktk.lt, or you can always email to international, the same one, right? Yeah, you can always check out our website, which is ktk.lt, and then you press on English icon. Yeah, and you can always check it out. Send us emails, we always answer, so if you have any questions, do let us know. Okay, so I think I'll stop my presentation here. I will try to show you the video, and I really hope it works. It's a very short one, just a minute, about our university. Okay, so I really hope it works. Yeah, let's watch it.
Ever wondered why it's so easy to cool down, to travel, or simply to know what the exact time is? Why bicycle wheels and aircraft turbines turn? Why it's warm and light inside? All this is made possible by engineers, a word that means wise men in Latin. They build roads, bridges, robots, and every type of machine imaginable. For the past 100 years, the Kaunas University of Applied Engineering Sciences has been training true miracle workers. The school has also provided education for sailors and airmen, and even catapulted Lithuania's first ever glider into the sky. Currently, the university can be proud of qualified and professional teaching staff, many innovative and modern laboratories, and as many as 5 different areas of study to choose from. The most diligent students get the opportunity to study abroad at 43 universities across 20 different countries. Many of the university's partners offer internships or employment opportunities before students even complete their studies. There is serious demand for engineers in the Lithuanian market. Engineering inspires innovation. Education shapes the future.
Okay, so very, very nice video actually. And yeah, as I said, so I think I'm done with my presentation. So I'm now gonna look at the Q&A question, sorry. Okay, I think I can publish them, right? I'm not sure if I can see them or, right? So you have, right, I cannot see the questions for some reason, but okay, so I think somebody is asking about the double degree. Oh, yeah. So I think I was mentioning, right, that double degree, we have double degree in Denmark and Germany. However, both universities offer classes in English. Okay, so the classes are in English. You do not have to know German or Danish. Unless you do, then amazing. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, publish, right? So can a student work part-time while studying? Are there any problems? No, there are no problems with employment. Honestly, up until last year, I believe, students were only full-time students, were only able to work part-time. However, now they can work full-time. So part-time, full-time. If you are able to combine that with your studies, that's great. As I mentioned, a lot of companies are already hiring our students, and they are very, very flexible about combining, kind of helping you out with studies and work. And we also have the option to kind of give you an individual study schedule. So if you tell us like, oh, I am working, I'm very busy, can you please do that? It is possible, right? Obviously, if you come here to study, it's better to study, but and work. But if that's not possible, then you can always really combine that. It's really not an issue. Great. Do you have a support center for finding internship? Yes. Well, we don't really have a support center. However, if you go to our website, there is this section that is called career, and there you can see all the job offers from the companies, the things that they're looking for, the people they're looking for, and all that. So no, we do not have a center. However, we do have this section, and you can, once again, you can always email us and ask us about it. So I hope I answered your question. um, Assistance to Ukrainians. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but as I said, for example, last year or this year, I guess, the admission process, we had quite a few Ukrainians that are refugees and now they're living in Lithuania. Some of them had graduated from Lithuanian high schools, others did not. So the requirements were the same. However, they did get the funding from the government. So they got like some help money wise, right? So their tuition fee was covered, or some of them got scholarships. So if that's a question, then for now we do have the funding, but it always changes. We usually get to know it in like around April. So next year, April, we are going to know, or May, I guess, whether we are going to have any funding or not. Okay, but usually there is some like help for Ukrainians. Okay, so this was already the same, right? Is it possible to change the programs? Yes, absolutely. You can always change the program after a year, as you said, right? You cannot really switch the program in the middle of the year, but you can change after a year, right? Because it's important to say, I guess, that our students, the first year, our students, most of our students have the same subjects, right? So you're studying math, you're studying physics, you're studying IT, English, or German if you choose that. So the students have kind of the same subjects. So if you do decide to change your program after a year, that's possible. Mainly because, once again, the subjects are just general subjects the first 2 semesters. Pilot training. Oh, no, we do not have a pilot training program, unfortunately. No, we focus more on the engineering part rather than piloting. The interview is not required for the admission, as I said. However, if I see that I'm not sure about your English level, then I might carry out an interview just to determine your English level. An interview as such is not a part of our admission process unless we see that it is necessary. In that case, we inform you and we carry out the interview. The insurance. This is something that I actually cannot answer, unfortunately, because we do not deal with that. The insurance is very much a personal thing. So I know that international students get different insurances. I know that some people go to one company, other people go to a different company. So unfortunately, here I can't help you mainly because we do not deal with that. Um, the insurance I mean, life insurance, health insurance is necessary um, in terms that if you are a foreign student, if you are a foreigner, Lithuanian government is not covering your health insurance, right? So in case something happens, you need to know that you will be able to go to a clinic, to the doctor, and things like that. So everybody has to have. It's literally obligatory. So everybody has to have it. However, depends on what you want to cover. Are you okay with just emergencies and things like that? But you have to be covered in some way, right? Mainly because if you're not Lithuanian, the government just does not cover that. Okay. Is it issued to visa while located in Lithuania? If you are all, again, you say located in Lithuania. If you have temporary residence permit, then you don't need any additional documents. You just send us the TRP and that's it. If you don't have it, but for some reason you're here, I don't know. I guess that's possible, maybe. I mean, one way or another, we need TRP. We need some sort of a permission for you to live. If you are not residing here, then you go as a foreigner and you get the TRP. If you already have it, then that's it. You don't have anything else. Then you just send us the documents, the high school diploma, and all that, and you're good to go. Then we don't need anything else. Okay, what common problems? I guess the main problem, I don't even know if I want to call it a problem really, but I think we had some issues with English. This is why I'm saying that a test or an interview or some sort of a certificate is necessary because the classes are in English. So you need to know English at least to get by, right? The minimum level we are requiring is B1, which is like pre-intermediate. However, from my experience, I can tell you that you need at least B2 because the level of Lithuanians is pretty high. So if you're in the class, you need to understand quite a lot, right? So the main problem I would say was English. In terms of documents, we really didn't have any issues because everybody had TRP, everybody had the national exams, and everybody had everything. The documents were done really, really well, honestly. So, yeah, I would just say English probably. As long as you have TRP and the high school diploma, you're good to go. No, we do not have summer. Well, again, we do not have a language summer school. However, we do offer Lithuanian as a foreign language. I'm actually a teacher. I mean, I teach Lithuanian and English. So you can choose a foreign language from English, Lithuanian, or German. Okay, so currently, for example, we have some students that are studying Lithuanian from zero, like from scratch, right? So we don't have the summer language school. However, we do offer those classes as such. So you study them for a year. You do that subject for a year. So yeah. Study hours, I think, is probably around, let me count. I have to think really. But it depends on the studies, but it can go anywhere from 30 to 40, honestly. Take up almost a full-time job. It's true that first year students have fewer credits, so like they're studying a bit less, and they do not have classes on Fridays. Once you are in your second or third year, you do have classes on Fridays and you do projects. But I would say it's anywhere from 25 to 40, depends on how many things you do and how many credits you have and things like that. Yes, your national, I think you're referring to your national test, right? The examination. So yes, it does influence your admission process, obviously, because mainly because one, if you do not have that, we can't really consider you as an applicant because that's one of the requirements, right? uh, Again, all situations are different, but it is important. So if you have the test, that's very important, that's really good. If you do not have it, then your score is going to be lower, right, which means that you might not get in. That's the problem. um, when you say apply for scholarship, you don't really need to apply for the scholarship. We just see your results, and then you either get it or not. I know that the average last year was 6.5 maybe to get a scholarship. Last year it was a 7. Okay, so it depends on the year and the course, really, how well your classmates are studying. So last year, this year, sorry, it was a 7. Last year it was a 6. So that's the idea. The only, well, first of all, with 16-year-olds, we do not, I mean, we have never had students who are 16 years old. We do have a student who is 17 years old. So there is no problem really. However, the only issue is that everything has to be signed by their parent or guardian or whatever. Because if you are 17 years old, you cannot sign yourself. Like your parents or somebody has to sign for you. So that's the only issue. As I said, we've never had 16-year-olds studying though. We do have a guy, a boy from Ukraine. He's 17 years old. So his family had to sign documents and things like that because he is a minor. Other than that, there really are no problems with it. um, from Lyceum, is that I'm not sure because in Lithuania Lyceum is like a high school, so it's equal. The thing is that we need your high school diploma, meaning you need to have the education of 11 or 12 years. If you have that, then that's enough. If you have less than it, then we cannot consider you as a candidate, unfortunately. Uh, No, as I mentioned, right? I guess you meant like the language school and all that. So I think I already answered this question, right? No, we do not have summer school, but we do have classes as a foreign subject, like foreign language. The road engineering. There are a few companies that hire our road engineering students, and that's where they do the internships. The companies are mainly Lithuanian, in this case, and as I said, they design roads, they build roads, they design a part of the road, for example. That's where they do the internship. Okay, but they work in Autocosta, which is a Lithuanian company, KAUNO, which is also like it's literally called Kaunas roads. So that's where they do the internships, right? Because some of our professors also work in those companies. So the students, obviously, the professors notice the students and how good they are or bad they are, and then they literally just recruit them for the job or for the internship and things like that. I think the main advantage of our university is the one I mentioned at the very beginning. There are lots of universities that teach you a bit of that, a bit of humanity, a bit of law, a bit of, we have always focused only on engineering and we have always stayed faithful to engineering. So our programs are really, really well developed. Our professors are really, really qualified, like really qualified. So the quality of the classes that you are getting are like very, very high. I have to say the education level is really, really high. We do not offer like 30 million courses, but we do focus on those that are very well developed. So I think that's the main advantage, honestly. That's a long one. Yes, you can transfer if you are studying in Ukrainian university, but that's the same as anybody else, any foreigners. You have basically what it works, how it works is that you apply as a new student, you apply as a new candidate, you get in. and then you apply for credit recognition, which means that then you say, okay, in my university I studied math, English, and physics. Are they the same as your subjects? If they are the same, we say, okay, amazing, same subjects means that then you graduate sooner, and you pay less because you already did those subjects, you already have those credits, so you don't have to pay for them. Okay, so that's a very good thing. And can I consider if studying remotely? We do not have classes. I mean, we don't offer programs remotely. Uh, all our programs are face to face. Some subjects might be online, but the main studies are happening face to face. So that's kind of the idea. Yes, basically, obviously, the ideal part is that you pay for the whole year. However, if that's not possible, then you can pay for the first semester in August, and then for the second semester in February. That's also possible. Once again, ideally, you pay for everything, but if you cannot, then you divide it by semesters. Yes, there is really enough space for the students, especially international ones. Mainly because once I start the application process and I see how many candidates we have, I book those rooms and then they are available once you get here. Um, yeah, you can look for a rental house. I mean, for a house, an apartment, if you are willing to share, because living alone might go anywhere from 400 to whatever you're ready to pay. Economically it is cheaper to pay to be in the dorm, but if you can't or if you don't want to, then you can look for another place. There are lots of websites, Facebook groups, and you can always ask me. I can always help you with that. That's really not an issue. You can, I mean, if you go to our if you go to our website, you can see all the syllabus, you can see all the courses, and you can also see the description of those courses. So I think you can compare more or less whether it's similar or not, whether it would match or not. Um, applied mechanics, yeah, definitely. We have mechanics, we have mechatronics, and things like that. So definitely check it out. That might be applicable actually. I mentioned, right? So it's not necessary to have the certificate, but it's highly recommended. If you do not have that, I'm trying to answer as fast as possible because I don't know how much time we have. So if you do not have that, then we just carry out an interview and you're good to go. Lithuanian is not really crucial, I would say, mainly because there are lots of young people and everybody speaks English. Everybody speaks English, everybody speaks Russian, Ukrainian, even German, honestly. So as long as you know English, you will get by, you will be fine in Kaunas. So it's not really crucial, but obviously it always helps if you know the language. What do you mean by non-formal vocational? But what we mean by non-formal is that you don't sit in the class and just read about the plane. You go to the lab and you touch the plane. You don't read about fixing the car. You go and fix the car. That's what we mean by non-formal training. Okay, so I think I already explained the national test thing. The main difference is that aircraft is more, you work on the parts of the plane, you make sure that the plane can fly. And with avionics system, you work more on the computers. You make sure that the computer systems are fine, the radars, um, the equipment to reach out to the tower and things like that. So avionics is more electronics. Aircraft is more kind of tools, manual things, and maintenance. We do have a cooperation with one Ukrainian university, I believe. We recently signed the agreement. I think it was Chernikov, I think. But I might be wrong because I did not sign that agreement. It was my colleague. But I believe it was Chernikov, I think. Yeah, so we do have students mentors. We have like students union. They can always help you out if you have any questions, if you have any doubts. And with the study mentors, you can always come to me and you can always ask any questions if you have any doubts. No, there are no entrance exam, as I said. It's just the level of English. You have to have B1 or B2 ideally. You do the interview with me if you don't have any certificates and so on. But there are no entrance exams for the programs. No, we do not have that. We just look at your high school diploma and the national test. Yeah, so I think we talked about aircraft, right? Aircraft is Ryanair. We have a few more, if I am not wrong, but I can't tell you right about now. Oh yeah, we have uh, J and C Aero. We have Kaunas Aircraft Maintenance Services, and then we have Ryanair. So these are three companies that deal with that. Um, Okay, so the scholarships I told you, right? They can go anywhere from 70 to 200 euros depending on your results. Uh, and then there are no links mainly because, as I said, that information kind of comes directly to us, to the institution. So every year there is some funding from the government because of the refugee status, but it changes every year. I know that 2 years ago the funding was a bit more. This year the funding was a bit less. So I don't know what about next year because it all depends on the situation, I guess. But the one for your results is from 70 to 200. You can submit your documents exactly. However, if you are in Ukraine and if you need to get TRP, that might take you quite a while. So if you submit your documents by the end of August, you might start studying in October or like, late October, which might not be the ideal case. If you are in Lithuania, then all good, no problems. You can submit them in August and you will make it. However, if you are abroad, you have to keep in mind the TRP time. Like you have to think that it will take a long time. Okay, I think it's the last one. If you study, how is it? Okay, so I've already covered this. So, right, Lithuanian is not obligatory. It always helps if you know the local language, but a lot of people speak Ukrainian, a lot of people speak English, a lot of people speak Russian. So you will get by for sure, right? So language is not that, it's not that important. Okay, so there are no more questions. So I guess just to summarize, right? Do apply, try your luck. Why not? Do it as soon as possible. Make sure you have your high school diploma, your national exam test. If you do have that, that would be great because that does influence your score a lot. And make sure that your English level is enough to enter. But from your questions, I think that your English level is actually more than enough. Great. Okay, so I think, yeah, exactly. There are no more messages, I believe, right? So that would be it for my presentation, right? So if you have any questions, please email us at international@edu.ktk.lt. You can go to our website, ktk.lt/n, right? English version. You can find all the contacts and everything, right? And then you can email me or anybody else, and we will always help you with pleasure. Okay, so thank you for your time. I believe my presentation, sorry, my presentation is coming to an end, isn't it? It should probably, right? Do you have any more questions? No, probably, right? Okay, great. So thank you then, I guess. And I'll see you soon, hopefully, in our university, in our, yeah. Okay, a Lithuanian language course. Yeah, we have language courses. As I said, I'm teaching Lithuanian. However, they are not. They don't cost anything. You just come as a student and then you do your Lithuanian language classes if you do want that. And how easy is Lithuanian? Um, I assume this is a Ukrainian person asking. So I think that Ukrainian, I've tried studying Ukrainian. It's very difficult. So I think you'll be fine. Lithuanian is a relatively difficult language, but it is doable. If you live here, if you try to talk to people, if you try to read things, you will definitely learn at least the basics in a year. That's for sure. Right? Yeah. Let me check. Right. So okay, good. Yeah. I think these are I think these are the questions. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for your time and thank you for everything, right? Great.